From toy shelves to Saturday morning cartoons, Skeletor has always been one of pop culture's most unforgettable villains. The skull, the laugh, the purple hood, instantly iconic. But in the upcoming Masters of the Universe movie, director Travis Knight says there's much more lurking beneath that bony grin, and according to him, Skeletor represents something very modern. In fact, Knight calls Skeletor the embodiment of toxic masculinity. So what does that mean for the new film, and how is Jared Leto bringing this legendary villain back to life? Let's dive in. Ever since Masters of the Universe first debuted, Skeletor has stood as the perfect counterbalance to He-Man. If He-Man is an exaggerated symbol of heroism, massive muscles, fearless strength, and moral certainty, then Skeletor is his twisted reflection. A villain who's loud, theatrical, menacing, and often surprisingly insecure. Director Travis Knight says that contrast is exactly what makes Skeletor so compelling. Speaking about the original animated version, Knight explains that Skeletor was scary, funny, and deeply flawed, all at the same time. He wasn't just evil for evil's sake, he was emotional, reactive, and driven by ego as much as ambition. And that foundation is what Knight leaned into for the big screen adaptation. Despite reimagining the character's psychology, Knight insists this is a faithful recreation of Skeletor. From the hollow eye sockets to the iconic hood, the look remains true to the original design fans grew up with. This isn't a radical reinvention, it's an evolution. Knight says the goal was to take everything that worked about Skeletor and explore it on a deeper level. That includes his insecurity, his hunger for power, and his obsession with dominance. Which brings us to the director's most talked about statement. According to Travis Knight, Skeletor embodies toxic masculinity, not strength, but fragility disguised as power. This version of Skeletor isn't confident, he's desperate. He craves control, validation, and superiority, lashing out when he doesn't get it. His intimidation is performative, his cruelty rooted in fear rather than authority. In other words, Skeletor isn't powerful because he's strong, he's loud because he's weak. And that psychological angle gives the character far more weight than a standard cartoon villain. Bringing that complexity to life is Jared Leto, who Knight says personally approached the project because of his love for the character. Leto has a long history of immersing himself deeply into roles, and according to Knight, he wanted to swing for the fences with Skeletor. Rather than copying what came before, Leto crafted his own interpretation, one that honors the original voice, humor, and menace, while grounding the character emotionally. Knight says the final result is something he's genuinely thrilled with, a Skeletor who feels familiar, unsettling, and surprisingly relevant. By framing Skeletor this way, Masters of the Universe isn't just delivering nostalgia, it's telling a story that reflects modern conversations about power, identity, and masculinity. It positions He-Man and Skeletor not just as hero and villain, but as opposing philosophies, true strength versus performative dominance. And that could make this adaptation one of the most thoughtful takes on the franchise yet. So Skeletor isn't just back, he's deeper, darker, and more symbolic than ever. What do you think about Skeletor being portrayed as the embodiment of toxic masculinity? Is this a smart evolution of a classic villain, or should Skeletor stay purely cartoonishly evil? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more movie news and deep dives into iconic characters.